Peace, y'all. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening from wherever you're tuning in. It's your sis, Moon Magic, and I felt really inspired and called to come up on here and share a message today. I've been traveling in the UK on tour with the return of the Boom Bap with KRS-One, and I'm doing a little bit of independent traveling around the UK right now before I head back to the States because I have a show there December 16th at the Starlit Room. And I've basically been traveling the UK the last 2 weeks almost entirely alone, using the bus system, all the local transportation, all that good stuff. And it's definitely the most solo travel I've ever done. And from the very beginning, I've had nothing but uphill battles where, it was difficult to find rooms that were available. It was difficult to find buses. Sometimes I got stranded in cities because there were no buses that were going out of that city. Things like that. My bus actually got into a car accident. And there were multiple nights where I walked in the pitch black dark. I'm actually going to try and cut it in here so you can see. For miles and miles by myself. One night was actually on the new moon, and that was really cool because I got to see shooting stars and just spend time with the stars and the earth, even though I was low-key terrified because I'm by myself in a random place that I have no idea where I'm at, walking at like 3 a.m. Through a field for 5 miles trying to get to my hotel. Now, what I felt really called to come on here and talk about was just kind of what the messages that have been coming through for me. So many times in life, we are going to be met with resistance. We're going to be met with challenges. We're going to be met with obstacles. And it's really easy to see those obstacles and challenges as the universe picking on us, or the universe, just not having our back and being like, why does the world hate me type of feeling. And just not understanding why things don't seem to work out for us, and that can become a familiar pattern in our life, and a pessimistic type of view that you start to develop because you feel like you're always met up against resistance. This trip has been teaching me so much about understanding how the universe communicates and really understanding the flow of the universe and the things that have happened wrong in your life currently, right now. Whatever goes wrong in your day, trusting that that is for your divine protection and for the protection of those around you. Here's an example, and this is the story that I feel like Spirit really wants me to come on here and talk about. During my time here, I've met lots of different people. We talked, and I could see how this feeling, not only was I feeling this way, right? I missed a show. One of the shows I missed because there were no buses out of the city. I was kind of stranded in a city. I couldn't find a hotel room. And I just felt like I was up against all this resistance. I walked over 15 miles, if I calculated all of it together, the amount of time that I've walked. And most of it was in the dark, after midnight, at least, by myself. And it wasn't because I really wanted to do that. It was because I couldn't find any Ubers. I couldn't find any other kind of transportation. The bus system was done because it was so late at night. I'm in a kind of desolate area, those types of things. And it felt like everything that, could go wrong while traveling kind of went wrong, right? But what when I finally got to the show and was able to perform, all of that was like preparation almost, because I don't think I would have. You really get to feel how much. I'm trying to figure out how to explain it. All of those things were preparing me to be able to see not only how much I really wanted it, but when I got the opportunity to do what I was here for, I was not going to have any hesitation. I was not going to have any fear. I was not going to have anything holding me back. I'm going to be like, man, I walked 7 fucking miles to be on this fucking mic right now, on this stage, and you're going to get that energy tonight. Yes, I'm going to take full advantage of it once that opportunity comes, because I've had to go through all these different obstacles in order to have this opportunity. So when you get that opportunity, you are not hesitating. You're not in your head. You're not like, oh, what if, man, should I really be? No, I'm here. Man, I know why I'm here. I walked all the way to be here. And we're going to make the most of it right here, right now, at this very moment. And I don't think I would have had that type of experience had I not had the challenges that I had along the way. And the reason I'm saying this is because there's a lot of times in life that we're met with resistance or different challenges, and we start getting in our head and Shout out to Zach Turner from the Slap Frost tour, who said, in your head and you're dead, you know? And I definitely feel that way. You start getting in your head and you start doubting, you know, why you're in this circumstance, and then it just starts to become worse and worse and worse, instead of seeing how it's redirecting you to be able to prepare you for what it is that you're supposed to be, where you're trying to actually go, giving you the circumstances and the lessons that you need to actually be prepared for when that opportunity comes. Or it's also just trying to redirect you to avoid other BS that you really shouldn't be a part of. Or it's leaving room for other things to happen that need to happen for its own reason. So, for example, let's say this happened while on this tour. You can't find parking anywhere, right? And you're traveling around this little square box for like 2 hours trying to find on this block some parking, right? Now you're stressed out because you're missing out on, you know, you need to try to get to your destination and it's delaying it, right? And you could say, man, my situation got delayed. I wasted these 2 hours and now I'm frustrated, right? But maybe in those 2 hours, right, there are other people who needed to do what they needed to do in order to connect with one another, right? Because we're all sitting around, we're waiting for this car to get parked, right? So now we're having these conversations and connecting and talking about things that we probably wouldn't have had the opportunity to do because we're in go, go, go mode. But now we have these 2 hours that we're just kind of like bullshitting, basically, because we can't do anything else but just sit around and get to know one another, right? So this becomes an opportunity now to connect and to learn each other's stories and to uncover and unearth things about each other that we probably wouldn't have had the opportunity to do if we had been just straight to our destination and on to the next part of the program, if that makes sense, right? And the reason why I bring all of this, you know, to you is because, you know, in my own personal journal, I was reflecting and looking back on what I wrote before I started the first tour I went on with Slap Frost in this last 4 to 5, 6 weeks, right? In the very beginning of November, I wrote about where I was and where my mentality was, the things that I was working on a personal level and spiritual level. And a lot of it had to do with, you know, feeling more confident within myself, no matter the circumstance, no matter where I was. Feeling confident and comfortable in my own skin, in this identity, and in my skill, and in my connection, you know, to the divine. And being at Stonehenge yesterday, you know, sitting there, I was sitting on the grass, just kind of, you know, looking out at Stonehenge and taking it all in. I realized that all the experiences and resistance and upheaval that I experienced, you know, making this trip happen, is exactly what I needed to gain that confidence in a whole other way. You know, I feel that, yeah, no matter the circumstance, I figured it out. I made it happen. I survived. I got this far and have some pretty cool stories from it. And, you know, it gave it character, you know. And so I just, you know, I felt really called to come on here because I feel like there's a lot of us out there right now struggling with the circumstances in our life, with the situations that just seem to continue to fuck up and not go right. No matter how hard we try to get to a certain obstacle or to a certain destination, it just seems to flow somewhere else. And I'm the type of person who usually is going to do whatever it takes to try and go against that flow to a degree to make it happen, right? My will is very, very strong. But I'm learning how you have to really tap in. And this is the message that I feel like Spirit wants you to hear, is that there is a time to have will and to go against the odds and to continue forward. But then there is a time to allow the flow to be exactly what it is. And the skill is to be able to really tap into that flow and to follow that flow and to have that ease and to see how your life, even when it's going wrong, is going right. And I feel like that's the message that Spirit really wanted me to come on here and talk about. Because there's a lot of people out there right now who feel like their life is going wrong and that they fuck everything up and that they just can't seem to get anything right and carry this guilt and shame and self-hatred you know, because no matter what they do, it just seems to fuck up. And I feel like Spirit is saying, it's not fucking up. It's going exactly the way that it's meant to go. It's preparing you. It's protecting you. It's redirecting. It's allowing these other things that need to happen. And if you can sit back and try to have this ease and calmness through it and allow it to be what it is, you will start to see the way that it all rearranges to come together. Just the way it's meant to. Right on time. And teaching you exactly what you need, so when you're in the right moment at the right time, you are more prepared than ever. I wish that for every single one of you. And I want to thank you for being here. Spirit wants to thank you for being here. It's not easy to get dinged up by the universe. But the more that we can see it as like the universe grabbing our hand and trying to direct us through the field, instead of us pulling the opposite way and getting frelled around, we start leading with it. You will start to see the blessings and direction in your life. Thank you so much for tuning in. That's all I have to say for today. I just wanted to drop this really short message and just share a little bit about what Spirit has been placing on my heart with you all. I hope that this message finds you exactly where you need it, when you need it, and is for exactly those who need to hear it. Trust that this message is for you. When you hear it, take what you need from it and leave the rest. Sending you a whole lot of love wherever you are on your journey. And thank you so much for being here. Peace and blessings.